dark destinations.
These may be end times, night creature. Why would a few more casualties trouble me?
Because their blood will join yours.
A radio drama anthology.
You are wrong.
How you figure? Every merc on Mongo is hunting you down.
Not you. Your partner. He said I didn't have a ray gun.
Full cast performances set in the haunted corners of the globe.
Darkness is coming for you.
Aye, that's the fear that haunts me.
Dark Destinations by Father Malone at weirdingwaymedia.com.
Weirding Way Media.
Hello there, I'm Chris Stasher.
I'm Mike White.
And this is Father Malone.
And we are the hosts of Dreams for Sale, show about the Twilight Zone 1985. Welcome, folks. You're here for the journey, as are we. On this episode of the show, we're talking about the 20th and 21st episodes of the third season as we round the bend into the home stretch of this special occasion. On this episode, we're going to be talking about a game of pool and room 2426.
Jesse Cardiff, pool shark, the best on Randolph Street, who will soon learn that trying to be the best at anything carries its own special risk, in or out of the Twilight Zone.
A Game of Pool was directed by Randy Bradshaw, written by George Clayton Johnson and William Burmender. It originally aired February 4th, 1989, and it is a remake of the episode from the original series with the exact same name.
I loved it. I love this one. I'm sorry. This one was really good.
Wow.
And I like Maury Chaykin. I like Esai Morales quite a bit. That script was good then. I thought that script worked now. And this one actually has the original ending that George Clayton Johnson wrote for the Twilight Zone that Rod Serling made him change. In the original one, which I went back and watched after I watched this one, he wins at the end. And Fats is like, I'm glad you won. You know, I wanted you to. But then what happened in the original was when the pool player wishes for Fats to appear, they actually cut to a shot of heaven. And it's it's a smoky heaven. And there's just a pool table. And it's shot from on high. And you can see Jonathan Winters was the Fats in the original one, just playing pool. And they're like, Fats Brown, you're wanted in Chicago on Rudolph Street. And like he packs up his stuff and like leaves. At the end of this episode, the pool player beats Fats. And then the next time they show the heaven scene, it's him. Like he has to go play all the punks who are like challenging him.
Which makes no sense.
No, because it turns the story from or into like heavy, hangs the head that wears the crown instead of like the burden of trying to be the best and avoiding your entire life. Which is what we get here. Like the idea that he gets beaten, doesn't die, but he's like, yeah, but you're dead anyway. You never lived at all. Yeah. I thought was great. Like really a thoughtful story being told by the Twilight Zone. I mean, they had to go back to the fucking 60s to finally give us a good one.
I was about to say, hey, don't give them too much credit now.
All I could think watching this one was, like, why didn't they just do that for this entire last season? They knew they had to burn through the season just to get to syndication, right? Just go back and find the scripts that people had, weren't allowed to do what they wanted and, like, make them correct. Like, you're guaranteed no matter what to be better than what they were coming up with.
I guarantee you, though, there was probably some sort of mandate that they couldn't do too many retreads of the original show.
At this point, nobody at CBS gave a shit.
I agree, but I am playing merely devil's advocate because that's the literal amount of stupidity that had to have been involved. Because because the answer is what you said. That's what they should have done. It's like fucking easy. Most people haven't seen the original show in '85, at least not the people that are watching this. And even if they have, so what? Like you said, do something different.
It is a possibility that, because at the time people like George Clayton Johnson was still alive here, and so was Richard Matheson. So were most of those guys. And probably they would have had to be paid like an outrageous amount. I don't think we saw a Richard Matheson episode redone, but we did see a Rod Serling one. So I don't know.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Button was Matheson.
That's right. But that wasn't on the original Twilight Zone. That was an adaptation of one of his short stories.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And that fantastic feature film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Richard Kelly, dude. Good director. Great.
So good.
He knew what he was doing. Yeah, I enjoyed this as well. And yeah, I fucking love Maury Chaykin. So it's so good to see him. And one of those like taken way too soon. He was 60 years old. I mean, the guy was just incredible in everything that he was in. I thought Esai Morales was a little too much at times, a little too, in your
I blame
face.
the director there because he can be restrained if he's got somebody on top of him.
Yeah. But I enjoyed this one. Nice, tight story, and the whole idea of how he has wasted his entire life. That he is so single-minded, playing pool, and has sacrificed everything else. It's like, who really is the dead person here? And it's him.
What about you, Chris? You hated it.
I actually really like the subtlety of the ending. Like you guys have said, I mean, it's that little twist of like, you're already dead. You don't have to actually be dead to be dead, though.
It shows that you can get a twist across that doesn't have to be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Right, with a hammer to the face.
Yeah.
I mean, it's essentially just kind of playing in the same sandbox that David Fincher does with Zodiac, where it's like, there's more than one way to lose your life to a serial killer. There's more than one way to lose your life to your hobby. It's to be all-consuming to the point where you're sitting at the pool hall every day of every week of every month playing pool, trying to be the best at pool.
I could be better at pool.
That guy's the only best pool player at that place. Like,
I actually played on a pool table about a week ago and realized that it's really not my sport.
I would like it to be. I really like the idea of it, and I'm like, oh, cool! Like it's geometry and stuff. This is kind of nice.
Which made me realize once again, sciences were never for me. Like I can't even apply them in this fun game that I enjoy.
Right? When am I ever going to use this? Well, if you play pool, then
there you go.
F of X.
I enjoyed it. I think it's a standout episode in a sea of problematic bad episodes. This is a buoy, a life ring, as one might even say, for us to kind of hold on to for a moment and enjoy, because it is a very small story in scope and in the way that it's told. It's two actors. It could have been a stage play.
Yeah, that's something I really like. Like it kind of bothered me in the 60s when they were doing these things with just like one person in a room. Like it felt cheap there. Here it felt so kind of eloquent and economical.
Right.
Well, and it's just weird that they haven't done this more, given that I think they were trying to be, quote unquote, economical, as they were trying to forcibly kick this show out of the airplane to hit the ground.
Right.
I mean,
Jesus.
again, like you said on the last episode, Father Malone, this is like them trying to get to syndication. Or I guess it was this episode. Jesus Christ. They're all fucking running together.
They're all the same. It was the last episode of this show, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it is this idea of like, you could just do this. And look what happens. It's a good episode. It's not even questionable. This is a good episode of the show.
So the decision from the hires up must have been, you need this many episodes, and they were like, we've stretched Michael J. Straczynski as far as we can. We've got nothing left. Like, just pick one of the old ones and finish it out.
Right.
God, but what a good one to pick. I mean, it's a great episode. It's a good story, and the twist at the end, it works. Less literal than the original.
Yeah. I have the DVDs of the original series, which is how I went and watched it, and they had the special features on this particular episode was Jonathan Winters reading the original ending.
Oh wow!
And I think there was an interview with Buck Houghton, who was one of the producers in the original show, and the other thing was Jonathan Winters' commentary for the entire episode, which was a lot of Schwarzenegger in Conan the Barbarian, like, okay, now here I am. I'm picking up my stick. It's a cube, but we would always call it a stick. And Jack Klugman doesn't like that. It was a lot of that, but he was also very thoughtful at times. Like the amount he hadn't been at that point hadn't been given a dramatic role and all, and he really wanted one. So he like went whole hog and like built a whole backstory for Fats and everything. It was really interesting. And this is like 40 years later they were recording this. So it was interesting to see how much he remembered and like the amount of effort he put into it. And he's great in the episode tw. I recommend this one, and I recommend everyone go watch the original.
But did he do the commentary as Maude Frickert?
If only.
Right. Why were you listening to it otherwise?
I was never a fan of Jonathan Winters, except when he was in dramatic roles. It's like, okay, this works. Like, tone it down a little, buddy.
That free association bullshit. Like, I know everyone. I'm not going to say anything bad about Robin Williams.
I almost did.
Everyone.
No, when he showed up as Robin Williams' son, I was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. But the free. Let me just say, free association has its ups and downs. It's just like watching an improv group. Sometimes everything clicks, and a lot of times it's like, okay, whatever.
We'll give you a laugh because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. I love Robin Williams. Let me make that clear. Don't hate me.
People already hate me, so it's okay if I say that.
They're just jealous.
He could have his bad days as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The free association thing kind of was Robin Williams' thing, and it only kind of worked because you have to do a lot of cocaine to do that, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hey, man, just make sure when you make another Twilight Zone reboot, you have people who know what they're doing as opposed to people who don't. Because if you have people who know what they're doing...
How about just don't again?
I know, but you get an episode like this. I mean,
just stop. Oh, no, but but they've rebooted it twice since the series, and now they need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Give it another 5 years. Give it another 5 years. 5 years is about the memory cycle of most folks.
True.
So let's talk about the 21st episode of the third season, Room 2426.
Current guest in room 2426, Martin Decker, theoretical biochemist. Checked in for observation a week ago. It seems he was displaying antisocial behavior, wrong thinking, and other intellectual crimes against the state. Diagnosis: schizophrenia, curable only by intense therapy sessions, followed by a full confession and disclosure of the facts. Once cured, Martin will be released. Or buried.
So Room 2426 is directed by Richard Bujoski, once again, or Rizard, as we called him. Toka and Rizard Bujoski. And it's written by Paul Chitlick and Jeremy Bertrand Finch, and it stars the recently deceased, rest in peace, Mr. Dean Stockwell. As a scientist, maybe? Who the fuck knows what's going on? I had no fucking earthly idea in this episode. Things were happening, and things happened.
Things definitely happen. And I was thinking he was some sort of like political prisoner. But no,
Scientist.
You're right. Theoretical biochemist.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And he has a cure for something. What it is, we do not know.
Well, it can be weaponized, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What is it, though?
I don't know.
Does it really matter? I mean, it
doesn't matter at all. As soon as they bring in the second prisoner and the guard takes pains to punch him onto the floor, I went, oh, so that guy's the plant. Okay.
Yeah. I just kept waiting for Dean Stockwell to be like, there are 4 lights.
Exactly. I did not like this one. I love Dean Stockwell. Anytime to see him, I mean, I guess I can rate it above most of these Twilight Zone episodes because just watching him do nothing is interesting. Like, that's an actor who you look at and you know he's always thinking and he's always emoting, and like you can see everything on his face. So it's not a total wasted effort, but at the same time, what a boring story we've heard a million times.
Just think if he had cracked that tooth in his mouth and just blown it out.
The tooth.
Fuck, man. Dune has ruined me for like half of the people in anything anymore. All I ever see, I see Virginia Madsen in something, and I'm just like, oh yeah. Or I see fucking
Irulan.
Yeah, or fucking Jose Ferrer or Kyle MacLachlan. Half of the people in that movie. It's like, oh yeah, this is just a strange episode because it is just narratively disjointed. Because it's like cutting out into the real world, which they're imagining, and then back into the cell, and then there's like flashbacks too to a time before. It's bizarre because it's a non-linear timeline, I guess. Maybe
someone had an idea for a novel and then went, I'll just put it here because I'm not going to bother to write that whole thing. But I also want to hit every beat that I've also worked out in my potential novel.
I mean, some of it worked for me, but I guess it was, I mean, really, this episode was fighting against the cheesiness of the set decoration and everything. When they would cut and show like a cockroach or a rat, I'd be like, okay, that doesn't look real. Like, I know that they were real rats and everything, but I'm just like, the walls don't look real. And so it's already lending itself to this verisimilitude where I'm just like, okay, nothing's real in this episode. So, and it was just so clunky when it came to the direction. Like when he thinks that he has, so the whole thing is this prisoner comes in and he's just like, hey, I've got this way that we can teleport ourselves. Mentally, we'll teleport ourselves to another place. Okay, so they teleport, quote unquote, to this other life, and he like burns his hand on the stove just to make sure that it's really real. And then he hears all this noise outside, and he goes and he looks, and it's speakers outside, and he pulls the cord from the speakers and unplugs it. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, this works. But then it just kind of like loses the thread after that. I'm like, okay, what are you doing now? Like, it just felt like kind of like how we're seeing too many ideas. It just felt like there was not enough direction. It just felt like we were missing a scene or something, or many scenes.
Yeah.
And I like how it just keeps cutting to black too. There's like, like, and it's like, was this a commercial or no? It actually wasn't a commercial. It was meant to signify him leaving the cell, I guess.
Right. And that he actually does somehow figure out teleportation. I'm like, you got to be effing kidding me.
Yeah. Like,
that's the big twist.
There was the twist.
He's just gone. I don't get it. And neither
Where'd he go?
Do you know we're going to blame you for this?
Yeah.
That was my favorite part. Like, oh man, this is a tough regime.
Yeah.
That man teleported out of there. How is this my fault?
Right.
Gotta blame
you were
somebody.
the one that taught him. Yeah.
It's not good. And it's, I don't know what else to fucking say anymore, man. Like, it's just this just feels like Ring Around the Rosie with this show. It gives us a little and then takes everything away. Just come on. Just give us 2 good episodes in a row. That's what I want. And I think this idea had some legs. Like you said, Father Malone, it has some legs. It could have been a good story.
Could have.
If the effort was there to put in a moment more than a second's worth of storytelling writing.
Again, better than a lot of them simply by the presence of Dean Stockwell.
That's fair.
I might actually recommend this one after all is said and done because of Dean Stockwell. If you're a Dean Stockwell completist, if you're a Dean Stockwell monomaniac.
I'm talking to you, one guy on the internet.
You're doing yourself a disservice in missing this episode based on how bad it actually is. Yes. Doing you a favor, sir, or madam, whoever you are.
After you're done watching Quantum Leap, don't forget to check out Dean Stockwell's turn on Twilight Zone 1985. It'll really shock you.
Of course, that's what I thought of, too, when he disappeared at the end. I was like, oh, okay.
Ziggy.
You know, I would have preferred that to this. Anything.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's kind of watchable just based on it. Never mind.
Right.
It sounds like you're just retracting all this praise very quickly.
Kind of am. Now, as a conscientious reviewer, I was recommending it for that one crazy human being out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and again, I mean, this is the only time we're going to get to see Dean Stockwell on this show, so oops.
What's weird is so the previous episode, this is just a weird coincidence, but in the previous episode was Game of Pool, which was from the 3rd season of the original Twilight Zone. If you watch that season of the Twilight Zone, there's also an episode called A Quality of Mercy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's an American platoon during World War II in like Okinawa or something, and they have a Japanese gunnery crew like pinned down inside a cave, right? And this is part and parcel with season 3 of everything, I guess, because then like Dean Stockwell is the leader of the American platoon on the original Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
and his
actual Dean Stockwell?
Yes, the very same Dean Stockwell we're talking about in this episode.
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
Is in this original episode of the Twilight Zone. And his like second in command is Leonard Nimoy before Star Trek, right? Something occurs. They all wake up. They're now the Japanese and the Americans are pinned in the thing with makeup.
Huh.
With transformative makeup.
Whoa.
Leonard Nimoy, Japanese. Dean Stockwell, Japanese.
Oh.
Why didn't you watch this episode?
Yeah.
God.
And before I understood cultural significance and theft and just outright wrongness, as a kid, I thought it was a great episode.
Oh,
because the makeup was good, but like it's not appropriate.
I want to see Japanese Leonard Nimoy.
Right?
You should.
The ultimate insanity is that Dean Stockwell was acting long enough to be on the original run of this show and the second run, and theoretically could have been on the second and third and fourth runs of the show as well.
Yeah, he could have.
Yeah.
You gotta wait for season 3 though.
That's unfortunately, there probably won't be a season 3, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. If you were a fan of the most recent show,
if they get a season 3, I think they owe it to themselves to make a CGI Dean Stockwell and put him into an episode.
they just need to put a CGI Rod Oh wait, they already did that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Fucking assholes. It's not that hard to make the Twilight Zone.
I think it's very hard to make the Twilight Zone.
I don't think it is. I think what they've proven is it's not that hard. What they're asking for is not that hard. In execution, clearly it's beyond difficult. But realistically, you're asking for a show with a moral compass, and you get to see where the moral compass is, or not, and you get to see if there is or isn't the moral compass in every episode, and that moral compass often factors into the twist or lack of twist. Fucking A, come on. And you have other episodes to draw from, and nobody's going to fault you if you redo them. As long
you
as
don't have to do social commentary either for the Twilight Zone. I don't know what the social commentary on Nightmare at 20,000 Feet actually was, or The Howling Man, or Nick of Time. Like, these are very personal human stories, which to me is what the Twilight Zone actually was. And occasionally, the ones that people overpraise, like the monsters who do on Maple Street, are direct social commentaries.
There's something.
Stop it.
Something.
Nick of Time in the original show is a better episode than Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
I like all versions of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
Nick of Time is so good.
Nick of Time.
Let's review
that. Yeah.
Did they ever remake that? They might have. They should.
I want to say that I want to say in the Jordan Peele version, there might have been one that was close to that.
Nice. The best version of the show.
But they did it with the internet.
the kid was Donald Trump all along.
I got this new app.
Do you guys know that police have brutality towards African Americans? Let me show you in an episode for 40 fucking minutes. I wanted to escape, not have this shoved back in my fucking face for me to remember how depressing a world I actually live in.
Yeah, there's no escapism.
Thanks, Jordan Peele. I escaped to the reality that I live in already. Cool.
Thanks for holding a mirror up to it.
Yeah. Holy fuck, man. God. Nick of Time is probably my favorite episode, I think, of the show, period. It's fucking good.
I'm leaning in that direction, too. Actually, Howling Man, which I mentioned, is probably my favorite. That one is just
it's been a while since I've seen that one.
To answer both of your questions, I remember where the Nick of Time thing was in the original show. They just show the fucking devil thing. Don't you guys remember that? At one point, they just show it.
That's right. I want to say it was in that replay episode.
It was.
Okay.
The police brutality episode.
Right, where they just kept doing it over and over. It was kind of a little Nick of Time plus a little Groundhog Day.
It's poorly written. What a shock.
Yeah.
God.
Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed us bitching about everything wrong with the Twilight Zone in any decade and any media. Have you read that Twilight Zone magazine? Remember in the 80s? Terrible.
Oh, I just downloaded almost every episode or issue of that.
No, I was just joking. I like that.
Okay.
I subscribed to it at the time.
Hey, not all Twilight Zone things are bad. Twilight Zone pinball machine.
Oh my God, that's a good one.
Pretty banging. One of the best pinball machines ever. It's weird to me how
Golden Earring song, Twilight Zone. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's weird to me how badly everything past the first show failed at trying to even capture a modicum of the spirit of the original.
I will say that if you take all of the bad episodes of this series in total, I think it's still less than the amount of bad episodes in the original run of the show. Like each of those seasons was 36 episodes. Yeah. And they ran for 6 years.
They had a lot of clunkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so this
They
is
also
sort
had
of
more room to have more clunkers too.
That's the thing. Like this shows the limitation of the anthology series when you limit the number of episodes you're going to give us. Like the law of averages says they're not going to be as good. Although the first season of this fucking show seemed pretty good.
Yeah, the first season of this show was real good.
Yep.
So on that, once again, massively fucking depressing note.
Game of Pool was good.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was.
In 2026 or whatever, wasn't that bad. 24, 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible.
Wasn't awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the next episode, though, who knows if they'll be good? We're going to be talking about the mind of Simon Foster and The Wall.
Oh, The Wall.
What do you guys think that's about?
I've actually seen it, but I
Red
won't say.
hats with white lettering on them?
Yes.
Oh my god, they predicted it ahead of time. It's like The Simpsons all over again. Until then, Father Malone, if people were looking for you on the internet and they wanted to find you, what would be the easiest way for them to go about doing so?
Go to fathermalone.com. Links to my podcast, Dark Destinations. It's a half-hour radio drama I write and produce. There's also links to my YouTube channel where I've got a review show and a bunch of stupid little movies that I make.
What about you, Mike? Where can people find the internet's best, the world's greatest movie podcast, The Projection Booth?
If they want to find the world's greatest podcast, all they have to do is go over to the Earwolf network and listen to what's that thing called?
How did this get made?
How did this get made? Yeah.
How did this get made?
How did that podcast get made? How's that podcast still popular? That's the real question.
It's out there, yeah, or unspooled. That one's higher in the rankings than I am. So
we should do a podcast reviewing their shows.
I can't listen to them. I tried.
Man. Like, what a waste of time.
I mean, cracking wise and having nothing to say is cool.
I just watched this movie 5 minutes ago. Here are all my stupid thoughts.
I don't do research. Who's that actor? I don't even know his name. Do you guys know who actors are? Like,
Jesus. Oh, it hurts. It hurts me.
The internet is hard to use, folks. It really is. It's like when people ask questions like, who was in that movie? It would be really nice if we had a way to find out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you'll like this one. Yesterday or a couple days ago at work, somebody was talking about the really tall guy in Dune, in Villeneuve's Dune. And I was like, really tall guy. And then I realized, oh, you think that Baron Harkonnen is really tall. You don't realize he has suspensors on.
Baron Harkonnen?
Good job, Dennis.
Oh, yeah, Baron Harkonnen. Sorry.
Harkonnen, yeah.
I got to Harkonnen back to that movie.
Well, I have a friend who's as nerdy as I am and read the Dune books in high school and everything. And she texted me and wrote, started watching the new Dune. Harkonnen? And like, which is exactly what I said. It's exactly what you guys said.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they say? If you're going to adapt the source material, make sure you say all the names wrong. Because the fucking fans don't care, right?
Yeah, it's like that awesome TV thing where they were calling her Cheney the whole time. It's like, oh, that hurts.
Oh my
yeah, you can find me at projectionboothpodcast.com where every week I talk about movies, and I actually try to do a little research, though there's a lot of times where I just go, who is that guy? Why is he doing that? What's up with that?
Do you guys know movies? Is that real? Did Thanos actually snap his fingers with that glove on?
Scientists say that could not happen.
It's a movie.
Booth. I'm just gonna do that the whole time.
It's a fucking movie. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
Sometimes the shit that people get in their heads on the internet. Could Thanos have snapped his fingers? Who fucking cares?
Yeah. Who wrote that article? Who spent the time? Who wrote the piece? And then why did you post it? And why are you sharing it on my timeline?
Actually, the real question is, why did you waste scientists' time with your dumb fucking questions?
Okay. So there's this guy. He's 8 feet tall. He's purple. He's a Titan, and he's got the glove, and he's got all of the Infinity stuff. Okay, let me start from scratch.
Explain what the Infinity Stones do first, because if I don't explain that, none of this will make sense. But before that, I need to explain the universe that this exists in, because it's not our own, because it has magic. God. And in it, this guy has a metal suit, and he gets into it and he flies around. And it just happens. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. Somebody made money off that article. People are making money as we speak off of that fucking article. Click, 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 click. Think about that. But you, dear listener, are here listening to us, so you're not reading that article. So you can find my stuff at cstashy.com. That's my link tree, cstachiw.com. That's where I have the stuff I work on. Like Father Malone said, like Mike White said, that's where all the stuff we work on is on our platforms, whatever.
Yeah.
Big thanks to Roxy Drive and Neutron Dreams for the music for the show. We'll catch you on the next episode, dear listener. Join us, won't you?